it's Jason Edwards here. Welcome to the Trendify Show. And my guest today is somebody who I've been following for a long time. I've seen him grow from almost no followers all the way up to hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube. And he's built a thriving business, and we'll get into what his business is in just a second. But he's been able to grow his YouTube channel, become a piano superhuman, to something that is incredibly impressive and inspiring. So Zach Evans is our guest today. Zach, how you doing today?
Really good. Great to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much for doing this. First of all, I like to start off kind of just getting to know you a little bit more about where you grew up and what life was like as a kid.
Yeah, so grew up in Wisconsin. Grew up with my dad was a gym teacher. Mom was a stay-at-home mom. They had 6 kids, so lots of brothers and sisters running around. Was definitely more into sports than music growing up. I did play piano as a kid. My grandpa taught me, when I was a kid. I played till 5th grade, and then I quit just because I was way more into sports than music. And then I actually didn't pick piano up till college. Went to the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, which is a small school in Wisconsin, and then switched my major to music, and that's kind of how I started off.
That's awesome. And when you were in college, did you think that I'm going to be a professional musician, or what was the thought behind switching to piano?
Yeah, so originally I was a math major, and I just still remember I had music. I was going to do a music minor, and so I was kind of messing around with the piano, and I'd go practice and stuff like that. And I just remember being in my math classes, and I just couldn't wait to go leave class so I could go practice. And practicing is supposed to be the not fun part of piano, but I couldn't wait to go do it because I just kind of fell in love with it. So at that point, I decided to switch my major. And, I remember calling my mom, and she was kind of like, yeah, you sure you want to switch away from math? Because math is you're going to make money doing math, whether it's an accountant or doing taxes or whatever. And music is known for the starving artist kind of thing. And at the time, I didn't really know what kind of, that I wanted to start a business in music. I kind of was more so thinking I'll probably be a, musician in a band or something like that and do the normal kind of piano route that people take.
And did you have success right out of college, or what was what happened right after you got out of college? And were you looking for a band to join, or what was that experience like?
Yeah, basically, so all through college, I was posting YouTube videos, which was, at the start, just because I thought it was cool and I wanted to, become YouTube famous or whatever. So I would just post all these piano videos every week. But even after, 3 years or so of doing that, it's still, I was making probably $20 a month off the YouTube ads at the time. And so the next step after school was to get an internship. So I decided to go to Nashville, mainly just because my teacher kind of had the hookup in that town and knew a guy, which was Johnny, which is our mutual friend, who was looking for an intern. So it kind of worked out perfectly. So I just started interning with him.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny and I have been friends for a long time, and he had a career long before he got back into the music industry. And I was so happy when he moved to Nashville. So if you're looking for education on how to make it in the music business or learn songwriting skills and things, check out Daredevil Production. He's a great guy. But I'm glad that you met him, because that allowed me to become familiar with what you were doing. And at the time when you were working with him and an intern, how many subscribers roughly did you have on YouTube?
Probably 10,000, something like that. Just to some people that sounds like a lot, to some people that sounds like barely anything. But I could tell you from firsthand experience, 10,000 on YouTube, you're not making money off that. You know what I mean? You might be making $20-$30 a month or something like that. But it's really not very much. Yeah.
And your plan before that, through college, like you said, was going to be your golden ticket, was making YouTube videos and making money off of the ad revenue was one of the ways that you saw yourself kind of surviving, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people look at that and say, okay, well, why did you keep going? What was getting you interested in internet marketing and kind of turning that into more of a career? How did you make that transition from making $20-$30 a month on ad revenue to actually building a business out of it?
So there are two main things. One was definitely the internship, which, seeing what Johnny was doing with some music marketing stuff and selling a course and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense to me. It's like if you can have some kind of recurring revenue, or if you can get, X amount of people on a call and then sell X percentage, okay, you can make X amount of money kind of thing. So that was part of it. And then the second thing was, even though my channel wasn't making much money, it was still every day getting a consistent amount of views. And I don't remember what it was at the time. It was probably like, a few hundred views a day. But then my mind starts going, okay, if I can convert even 1% of those people every day, to buy like a $10 ebook, okay, now that's another $20 a day. Okay, what if I can get them to spend this much money, or increase the views per day to this much? Then kind of start doing the math in my head, and it starts to make sense.
Yeah. I think every person, at least that I have spoken to about internet marketing, entrepreneurship, and we always do that. If I can get 1% of this person, we start running these numbers constantly. Like, and then if I did this and it made an extra $10 and that's 10,000, we start multiplying all these things. But what was the reality? I mean, what was the first time that you made a sale online, and what was that product?
Yeah, so I started an ebook called Lightning Fast Piano Skills, which was I was selling it for $4.99. And I do remember my first sale felt like, wow, I like really made money off the internet. You know what I mean? Which was definitely a huge, just kind of like game changer for me. Just knowing, okay, this is possible. And
Yeah.
that first book was kind of like, and then I also put it up on Amazon, and then it ranked well enough on Amazon to make me about $100 a month. So I was making $100 a month off Amazon, and then off my channel, every couple days, like another sale would drip in of like $4.99. So that was kind of the first like taste of like, okay, this could be possible.
Yeah. And what did you do with that money? Did you save it, or was it that like, I know a lot of people, especially me, when I first made like my first $100 a month or something, I would use that as like my going out to eat money or party money or whatever. Like, did you see it like that, or did you instantly see, okay, this is a business and I need to start structuring this in a different way?
Yeah, at that time, the first money coming in, I was kind of just saving it, or I mean, I was pretty much living, paycheck to paycheck at that point. So there wasn't much I could do with even an extra, $5 to $10, kind of thing
Yeah.
at that point. When I really started spending money was when, after the internship, I ended up interning at another company, which was just a normal marketing agency, and we do, Google ads for, Massage Envy and some other companies, um, just normal companies, like a company that sold windows, a company that does like car repair, that kind of stuff. And I was making at the time like pretty much minimum wage, and then I ended up getting hired on, and basically my salary like doubled in terms of what I was bringing in like each month. So I started thinking, okay, if I'm already living off what I was living before, if I just keep living off that and then spend the other half on ads every month, then it's like, okay, like I'm already used to this lifestyle anyway. Why not, spend my entire rest of my paycheck on ads and see if I can kind of grow this thing?
Interesting. So that next step, even though you were getting paid to learn how to grow what ultimately turned into this thriving business that you have today, and we'll get into more of the numbers in that. But that was really smart. When you started growing your YouTube audience, I know you were posting consistently, but were there any secrets? Like, say there's a musician out there or somebody who's not even doing music, but just wants to build a following on YouTube. You picked YouTube versus other social media platforms. Was there a reason behind that decision?
It started off just because at the time it made the most sense for piano. When I first started it, I mean, there wasn't even, it was pretty much YouTube and Facebook, and I think Twitter was out back then. And, Twitter's mostly text. Facebook, I don't know if they had videos even yet on Facebook at the time. So I kind of just started off on YouTube. But the thing I really love about YouTube is the fact that you can post something and 5 years later still be getting views on it. Whereas, like, if you do TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all these things that can be great, definitely, and there's ways to make it work, but it's like, you even if you spend a lot of time on a video, you make it awesome, you post it, it's like, okay, great, it's going to get maybe a lot of views for the first like 3 days, and then pretty much nobody ever sees it again. Whereas YouTube, I mean, I have
Yeah.
videos from 6 years ago that are still getting consistent views every month, so you feel like more like you're building something that's going to last, you know?
Yeah, the searchability and the discoverability of other platforms is challenging. I know it's easy to latch onto those new platforms, and I'm definitely experimenting with those and trying different ways to grow. But I've heard that time and time again from people that have grown YouTube channels specifically is the ability to be discovered 6 years or 10 years down the road on something you put work into. And it just is the gift that keeps on giving and the work that keeps on paying off, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why I think YouTube is just the top. And it depends what you're doing, but definitely if you're doing something in the teaching niche, I think that YouTube is probably the best way to go.
As far as growth goes, I know that you were posting consistently, but was there any other strategy that you had at the time to grow even faster? I think I saw you one time doing some cover songs with some popular artists on it, like kind of doing a collab. So was there any other strategies like that that you did to grow?
Yeah, honestly, for YouTube, I've tried a lot of different things. Um, the cover songs was one of the things I tried, which honestly didn't work very well from a business perspective. It was
Interesting.
fun. Some of them got a lot of views, but I realized is like you have to be so specific because the conversion rate is so different from somebody who's watching a video of me playing piano, who might not be interested in learning piano. They just think it sounds cool, versus my teaching videos, which is really specific on, hey, here's 3 ways to improve your scales, or here's like, top tips to learn this song or something like that. So the teaching videos are ended up really being what like basically runs the whole business today.
Yeah, I can see. I would have thought that having those collabs would help, but I can see how there's a different mindset to somebody watching it for entertainment versus somebody coming to you for education and tips to ultimately buy what you're selling.
Hmm. Yeah, and in terms of I don't know if you wanted me to go into like YouTube strategy on like how to.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, so a couple big things I learned is when I first started doing YouTube, I thought it was all about more about like creativity and just like, oh, I think this is a good idea randomly, and then like let me make a video about it. But it's actually a lot better to first do the research on what's working. So go to all your competitors, sort their videos by most popular, and see what videos are getting views, and then take the same concepts and the same types of things that they're teaching or they're doing videos on, and then put your own spin on it and try to make it 10% better, 15% better than what they're doing, and then pay attention to their thumbnails, their titles, their descriptions, because at the end of the day, those are the proven winners. Like those are the videos that are actually getting a ton of views on YouTube. So if you can do the same kinds of videos but make them better than the videos that are currently out there, hypothetically, those are going to rank higher, and then those are going to get the views.
I got you. So, and how many would you use as a sample size? Like how many competitors would you go and look to see what they're doing and model that?
Yeah, I mean, at one point I created this big list of like 20 to 30. And then I kind of end up honestly using the top like 5 or 6 maybe, just because it really is one of those like 80-20 rule things where it's like, yeah, the top few competitors are really doing well. You know what I mean? And then the further and further you get down the line, it's like there's not as much like relevance.
Okay. And I want to get a little even more tangible on making something better. So say you see somebody that's teaching people how to play with their left hand better or something like that. What do you analyze in a video to say, I think I can do that better? Is it better quality as far as gear? Is it more entertaining? Like, do you have some ideas on that side of it?
Yeah, the best thing for any kind of teaching thing is to make it as like dirt simple, easy as possible. And so, for example, almost all my videos, I have a cheat sheet, like a PDF download that has it all laid out nice and clean so people can download that, which also works really good as a lead magnet. And then anytime there's something in the video where I'm like, yeah, this was a little bit confusing, or this, feels like I could have broken it down into smaller steps, or I could use like an acronym to help people learn it better. That's like probably the biggest thing you can do if it's a teaching style type of video. And then the second thing is to make it more entertaining and more sticky, which, I mean, entertaining, the biggest thing is just you have to have a personality. You know what I mean? Like you have to be like, whether it's you're excited or you're funny, or however you can like have some kind of personality that engages people is, I think, the biggest thing you can do. Yeah, there's some little tricks where you can like maybe put some, funny memes or something in the middle of the video, and I've experimented with that, and I think that can make like a small difference. But I think it's mostly personality, and then the other thing is being very just ruthless on cutting out any extra things, because to keep your watch time
Mm.
up, which is really what gets you ranked, like anything when you start rambling on, like you got to cut it, because it's going to kill your watch time, and then everything else is going to rank above yours. So like my videos have a lot of cuts in them, and a lot of like like um like quick cuts where it almost seems like I should slow it down, but I've just seen from analytics and everything that those are the videos that really do well.
I got you. And do you do all of your own editing, or do you have someone that does that?
I just started outsourcing it to actually my brother, who's been doing a lot of the editing for me. But still, I always do the first 30 seconds myself, because that's really the important
Okay.
part, to like hook everybody in and say, okay, this is what you're going to learn. Let's put some humor in there. Let's put some breadcrumbing, which is essentially, telling them, oh, make sure you stick around for the end, because this is the big mistake everybody makes, or whatever. Something to keep people
Yeah.
watching for the full video.
Okay. And then as far as like titles and tags and that kind of stuff, how important is that to you?
Titles are super important. So I always search on YouTube the title that I was kind of planning on using, and then going down to all the other titles and seeing if there's stuff I can add or remove or take out, or maybe put this in there. Like there might be a basic title that's like learn your piano scales, and then I might see another one that's like, oh, play piano scales fast and easy. So I'm like, okay, fast and easy is a good thing. So I might do like learn your piano scales, and then like parentheses fast and easy, or maybe fast and easy is in the thumbnail
Mm.
somewhere where it says fast and easy, and I kind of try to figure out, okay, this seems like it'd be a good hook for the audience, and then put it either somewhere in the title or somewhere in the thumbnail. Tags don't. I
Um,
don't even do
and then
tags. I don't think tags are very important. Yeah.
really now thumbnails. Let's talk about that for a moment. Is there something specific that you do consistently in those, or is it just showing pictures of your hands or a circle? I see a lot of people like with a red circle pointing at something, or do you have a lot of text, not a lot of
Yeah,
text?
so I typically do. I noticed that for the piano niche, when it has the top down angle of the piano and you can see their hands, that's always a good, like those videos do well, I think, because people see, oh, look, he's going to teach me in a very like logical angle.
Mm.
So almost all my videos have that. And then they always have text as well, and I try to keep it relatively short and big font. So not something where they really read, but maybe like 4 or 5 words. Keep the font big and bold and very just obvious.
And you don't have to have the same thing in the text as the title, in the sense of if whatever your title is, you don't have to put that in the thumbnail.
Correct, yeah. Which sometimes I do repeat it, but I try, if I can think of something where I don't have to repeat the text, it's usually better, because you kind of get both hooks in there. And then I've done stuff, yeah, with the circles, or like an arrow pointing somewhere. Um, and that just kind of depends on the video. If there's some way I can do, like, think of a hook that would make sense with that. And then I've experimented with putting my face in there, and I don't know. Sometimes it seems to really work, and sometimes not. And it's obviously it's really hard to tell, because there's so many variables on like why someone's clicking on something. But everything I've read on the internet, people are like, yeah, always have a face in your thumbnail. So I've been
Yeah.
putting it in a lot more recently, but also my top video on YouTube doesn't have my face in it. But maybe it's just a really good hook, and it just didn't need the face, So maybe you've done even better with the face. So it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. Now, I know you said you didn't have as much success with collabs and things, but do you are most of your tutorials about how to do a specific technique, or is it how to play a popular song? And which of those have been better
Yeah,
for
the
you?
technique videos have been a lot better. The reason is, yeah, the
Interesting.
popular songs, like you'll get a big spike in traffic when it's popular, and then after that you'll see nothing. I mean, it'll literally go down to like 2 views a day. Whereas if you're teaching how
Mm.
to learn a song or something like that, so like one of my good videos is like, it's like 3 easy songs for beginners, but it doesn't have the names of the specific songs in the title because then it's not going to do as well. But I do teach like popular songs within that, if that makes sense.
A lot of people have this, I guess, romantic view of the starving artist and people that are just struggling through their craft and not selling out. Do you feel like you've accomplished what you wanted to? And we'll get into maybe more specifics on the numbers of what you're doing, but do you feel like you're where you wanted to be or where you want to be?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the lifestyle that I have, which I'm a pretty simple guy, you know what I mean? I don't need crazy luxury things. Like sometimes I'll do a nice vacation or something like that just because like I can now, but I don't feel like I need it. So I'm definitely happy, very happy, like financially and lifestyle wise, where I want to be.
And how long of a run have you been with this? When did you start your channel? How many years
Yeah,
ago?
technically the channel started probably like 2010, so like 12 years, my original channel. But honestly, like business wise, since it started actually like making sales and stuff like that, probably around like 6 years.
And if you're comfortable, do you mind sharing what kind of revenue it's bringing in roughly?
Yeah, so typically it brings in about 30 to 50,000. Lately it's gone up a lot, partly because of COVID. People are inside more, they're learning piano. Right now it's also kind of still the winter months. So like the last couple months have been like 70 to 90K. Um, yeah,
Per
per
month?
month. But I have a feeling it's
Wow,
going to
that's
go back
incredible.
down to that kind of 30 to 50K once kind of everything's opened up or get back into summer, stuff like that. But we'll see.
I'm so proud of you, and so I've seen your rise, and I think that's so inspiring, and hopefully a lot of people get a lot of value out of that. Just seeing that you can take something that most people, like if you said, I'm going to teach, instead of telling your mom you're not going to pursue math anymore, you're going to teach piano on the internet. Most people will be like, he's going to struggle. He's not going to do very well. And you have really proven that with a lot of hard work. Obviously, it's not just you put a couple videos up and then you're making more than most people make on the internet. But I just think it's incredible. What advice would you have for people that have some kind of skill that they want to teach online and want to maybe start selling some courses or teaching other people what they know and modeling after what you've done?
Yeah, I definitely recommend build the audience first because basically you need a product and an audience, right? You need people to sell to, and then you need your product to sell people to sell people. And I think a lot of people build their product first, which I think is a mistake because for one thing, you don't have anybody to sell to yet anyway. But even more so, as you're building your audience, you're learning what people really want. You know what I mean? Like my first book, the lightning fast piano scales, doesn't do very well because I found out that not many people really care about learning scales. You know, people want to learn songs. People want to learn maybe to play by ear is a popular one, but it's I was creating a product that people weren't really that interested in. So I would first start with building your audience, and then the other thing is I would definitely recommend buying courses on internet marketing. I know a lot of people try to do it like the free way and like, oh, you can look up free YouTube videos, and that's good and all, but it's like the problem is that you're gonna run into is like you might have one person on YouTube saying, yeah, TikTok, if you like do TikTok, it's gonna be great, and here's how you do it. So then you start on that, and then you see another YouTube video that's no man, it's all about Facebook ads. So then you like start learning Facebook ads, and if you do everything 50% of the way, like you don't make any money. You don't start making money until you get one of those traffic sources 100% of the way there. So it's better to go all in.
Hmm.
Like I always just look up like best course on XYZ, best course on YouTube organic, best course on Facebook ads or whatever it is that you want to start out on, and then spend the money on a course and like take it and then figure out the best way to optimize for that and then go from there.
Yeah, I've heard a few sayings recently that I play in my head over and over again. And one of them is everything works and nothing doesn't. So every strategy that you hear works to some degree, but doing nothing will get you nowhere. So, and also the saying of don't build a lot of half-built bridges. So as you said, get something that's working all the way. And then if that's flowing and it's working really well, then you can then if you want to, branch off and start trying to build another bridge that's going to get people to that destination. But I think you've done it really well, just focusing on one channel, one audience, and teaching, finding what they want to buy and then just delivering that to them. Mm-hmm. A lot of your email list has been built, like you said, building those lead magnets that are based on the specific video. Has that been your main traffic strategy? Is just, I'm going to teach this video about the 3 beginner songs, and then at the end of that video, I'm going to say, you can download this PDF about what I just taught you here, and then every video has a different thing to download?
Yeah, so basically I have like my free course, which is kind of just my generic one. And for a long time I was just using that, and that did do well. And I still use that sometimes if I do a video that it just doesn't make sense to have a cheat sheet with it or something like that. It's just, sign up for the free course. But yeah, I've noticed the specific ones work really well because people are like, oh, I want to make sure I remember everything that he's teaching in the video. The only thing is I always do it in the middle of the video. And the reason is the YouTube algorithm, the way it works is if somebody watches your video and then watches 10 videos after that and stays on YouTube a long time, then YouTube's making a lot of ad revenue off of that. So YouTube is going to rank your video higher because it's like, oh, this video was the start of a chain that's keeping people on YouTube. So if you have the cheat sheet at the end, sometimes people will click off, get the cheat sheet, and whatever, go to some other website or do other things. But if you haven't,
or just start diving into the cheat sheet and trying to figure that part out and not going back to YouTube.
Yeah. So now what I like to do is do the cheat sheet in the middle of the video. Like, hey guys, now's a great time to download the cheat sheet. Click the link here, put in your name and email, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the video, it has 2 links typically to other videos on my channel to try to keep them in the YouTube ecosystem for longer, if that makes sense.
Got it. A couple things I want to ask you about that then. At the end of the video, I've seen some people that aren't doing the whole wrap up thing like, thanks guys so much for watching, blah, 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 because that ends up, once somebody feels like the video's over, then they're not watching all the way to the end and they're dropping off, versus making a seamless transition into the end of your talking and then saying, also, I'm going to teach you how to do X, Y, and Z on this video. So it's much more seamless than, like I said, the wrap up kind of like, thanks for watching guys. So hopefully that was of value to you. Have you experimented with any of that?
I definitely do that on all my new videos. It's typically, the video's like ended, and then it's like, oh, by the way, the biggest thing people struggle with is they have trouble getting hands together. So if that's you, click here for the hands together video. Or if you want to learn more songs in a similar process that we just learned and just keep going down that route, click here for that video. Like that's typically, and then it just ends with a black screen in those 2 videos and that's all they can do. So yeah, 100%. If people say, yeah, thanks for watching, then people just click off. They already know, like the attention span is so short nowadays,
So once you have a library of videos and you kind of can think ahead, all right, this will be 2 videos that I can recommend at the end of this, then you can transition into that easier.
For sure.
Let's talk about some tech stuff, just as far as mechanics of it. Were you really tech savvy? Did you have knowledge in how to set all this up, or what was your way to build all of this infrastructure so that when somebody does download something, they go into your courses?
So it's all through basically software that I've online software that I've just purchased. So for example, I use Entreport for my CRM, and also you can build out pages in there, and then that connects to Stripe and PayPal, which I use for payments. And then I started using Lead Pages for a lot of my landing pages. But it's all just like, it's all stuff that doesn't take any actual coding experience, but it's sometimes annoying to set up and get everything interconnected, but it just involves going to Starbucks, grabbing a large coffee, and just sitting there for 8 hours and Googling things, and then, oh, it's not working. And it's like, oh, because you have this type of random thing for your website, and anybody could figure it out. You just got to it's just annoying at first. And then once it's set up, you're like, good,
The thing about courses that I like is that once you create something, you can basically just duplicate it over and over again with the work is already done. You've created the content, and now it's just somebody buying access to that thing. So you don't have to actually go in and do one-on-one coaching or teaching that individual person. Do you have any kind of community like that where you're having to coach one-on-one or in a group, or is everything pre-recorded?
Most, like 99% of my sales is the pre-recorded stuff. I hired another piano teacher for people who want to do like Skype lessons kind of thing. So he handles that. But yeah, most of it is definitely people buying the courses.
Awesome. As far as the tech goes, I guess more, let's talk about your courses, because we haven't really gotten into that. Your YouTube channel's become a piano superhuman. People go from there to, you said you have a free course, and then what are the other offerings? Just a couple that people can buy from you.
I one other mistake I made is I have like way too many courses, because when I started building my business, I'm like, I have this email list. I'll just keep coming out with new courses and keep selling another one, and then I'll just make money that way. And it's got to the point where people were actually confused, and they're like, Zach, I don't know which course to buy. So I ended up kind of like bundling most of them together now. And then I have like a few courses that are my main courses. So my main one is the super simple piano course, which basically teaches people how to learn songs from the radio without using sheet music. So they're playing using chords and chord shapes and stuff like that. And then the other one I sell a lot of is the play by ear mastery course, which is like audio exercises so that you can hear a song and then figure out by ear. It takes longer to learn than the super simple piano course, which is a lot easier to do, but obviously playing by ear, you can hear something and play it almost instantly, just with 5-10 minutes of figuring it out on your keyboard.
And I think that's what most people want, and you've discovered, is that people just want to be able to hear a song and then be able to play it. That not necessarily trying to be classically trained musicians that can go in front of an audience and play. They just want to be able to sit down at a party or impress their family during the holidays and play some songs. Yeah, is that what you found?
And the thing too is like, that's my niche, just figuring out from posting on YouTube and like which videos are doing well. But there are people on YouTube doing other, like there's a guy, Josh Wright, who's really good for like the classical, I want to learn Beethoven and really try to become like, a famous touring piano player, which is not my niche, but he does very well with his course as well. So I think there's you just have to find what you're doing and then just try to do it better than everybody else.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How can people find more about your courses and about you or your channel?
Probably just type in Become a Piano Superhuman on YouTube. And then once you're in that rabbit hole, like there's links to everything. And so it should be pretty easy.
Awesome. Any final advice for somebody who just wants to model after your success and see how they can make a living on the internet doing something that they love?
Yeah, I think just, the biggest thing is just dive in and start working super hard. And because the reality is what you think is going to work at the beginning is going to be completely different than what's going to end up working at the end. But the only way to figure out what's going to be the end up working thing is to go through the first part of just doing something that doesn't work time and time again until you figure out what does work. So you just kind of got to dive in.
Awesome. Zach Evans, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see your success keep growing, and we'll hopefully reconvene in a year or so and you're making 10 times more than you're making now.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man.